What's up, nail geeks? I am back with August 2020 polish pickup, and this month's theme is weird science, and I am here for it. If you didn't know, I'm actually a graduate student focusing on microbiology for my thesis, and I couldn't be more geeked for this theme. This month I have 30 items to show you guys, and I am shook that I was able to keep this within 40 minutes. Pre-editing, it was almost an hour, so I'm super proud of myself for that. So without further ado, let's dive right in. First up, we have Alchemy Lacquers Popcorn Laser. This is described as a purple jelly with pink, orange, green flakes and holographic flakes. This is inspired by a scene from the movie Real Genius. Price is $11.50 and there is a cap of 200 US bottles and 10 UK. So this definitely feels like a jelly on application. Depending on how you wear it, between 2 and 3 coats, that base color will definitely darken out. Now, I want to note that my swatches really focused in on those flakes, so you'll get a really strong iridescent-like effect with an easy shift between those pinks and greens. But in person, as you wear it, it's going to be just a little bit more purple, but it still has that really strong iridescent effect from the flakes. So for opacity on this one, I'm going to suggest 3 coats on it just to really darken out that base color and get those flakes to pop like crazy. You'll get a really nice pond effect with them, meaning you'll be able to see the flakes in between your layers for your coats, and I think it gives you that really nice almost plump-like effect as you build it up to that 3rd coat. Now, I did go in with a glossy top coat, and I had no issues with texture. And next we have AP Pila. This month she brings us a stamping polish. This is I'm Weird, described as a brown stamping polish that can also be used for normal polishing. Price on this one is $9, and there is a cap of 80 US and 20 UK. So to start off with, I'm showing you guys what it looks like wearing it on its own. This is what I would consider a definite lighter type of brown. It kind of reminds me of a deep type of almost toffee caramel type shade. And of course, when you wear it on its own, this is good in 1 coat. So really very satisfying, smooth formula. I can't see anybody wearing this one on its own past 1 coat, to be honest. It's got a really nice formula that's very smooth and buttery. Now here I'm showing you guys how it performs as a stamping polish. I had absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. It picked up with the clear jelly stamper on that first go. Wonderful performance on this one, and you can easily see that nice toffee-like brown, definitely over black and white. Now AP Pila is also bringing us the I Need Space stamping plate. This is quite large, and I love the images on this to pieces. It's got a little bit of everything on it. Like I said, this is quite a bit on the larger side for a plate. It is 18 centimeters by 10 centimeters. It is etched very well. So many images to see here. There's a lot of microbiology, there's some genetics, there's a little bit of space, and we got those really cute alien images on it too. And just to give you guys a reference, that's my hand up against the stamping plate. I consider myself having pretty big hands, so really wonderful size, especially for that price. So I went in and I did 3 different looks with this one. You can see it here. I used the DNA, and then I used the alien images, and finally microbiology images because microbiologist here. And next up we have Aurora Lacquer. This is a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray. This is described as a brown flaky bomb packed with bronze and gold metallic flakies and scattered metallic purple highlights. This is inspired by the movie Weird Science. Price is $12, and there is a cap of 200 US and 20 UK. So the formula on this one feels almost crelly-like to me. It does build up quite quickly on the nail, but I do want to really point out that the metallic flakes in this one, they do have a tendency to sink to the bottom. So before you apply, make sure that you go in and shake really well for your bottles to get them to disperse from the bottom. I just really wanted to throw that out there in case you go in to apply and you're not seeing a whole lot of flakes, because I would definitely consider this one a metallic type of flaky bomb. There's a ton to see, and for opacity, between 2 and 3 coats, and I think most are going to be just fine. In your final look, it gives you that really strong reflective type of sparkle, very metallic-like, and I do feel like the video is being a good representation of what I'm seeing in person. And Aurora Lacquer also brings us a topper. This is having a good time being a catatonic in a closet, described as a sheer effect topper that gives a blue, red, and brown shimmer effect. This is also inspired by the movie Weird Science. Price is 11 and there's a cap of 100 US and 10 UK. So for the purposes of my swatches and the video, I went ahead and used a black undie so that I wanted to make sure, because this is what I would consider a fine particle type of topper, I wanted to make sure you guys would be able to see it. So for the purpose of my swatches and video, I did take it up to 2 coats as a topper over a black base. And I just really wanted to make sure you guys could see what I'm seeing in person. So I think this is really dense for 1 coat, but again, I took it up to 2 because this is very fine. So you can see as you wear it, whether at 1 or 2 coats over an undie, you'll get a very strong blue shimmery effect with a bit of a red type of scattered sprinkle. And Baroness X brings us a new scent for her acetone antidote. Once again, I was very lucky in that I actually needed to refill for this time in the month. This is scented in Fruitful Storm, which is described as a tropical rainforest leaves with a fruit melange of apple, lemon, apricot, cantaloupe, creamy coconut, and floral nuances of muguet and lily, and a light note of white musk. So this kind of smells to me quite a bit on the floral side, but I do definitely pick up some hints of that nice fruitiness to it. Very pleasant, and that somewhat musk-like smell in the very undertones of it. It almost reminds me of like a body spray type scent. It's very pleasant. I do classify this in the quote-unquote pretty type of scent, and I use an entire vial in roughly 7 to 8 ounces in this pump bottle, and I also mix it with pure acetone, and this gives you wonderful polish removal without the ashiness that pure acetone will leave behind on your skin. And Baroness X also brings us another fluid art polish this month. This is Nacre, which is a clear base fluid art polish with a pinky purple shift and a green glass specks. This is inspired by Nacre, which is a mother of pearl. Price on this one is 11 and there is no cap on it. So I have played around a little bit with fluid art polishes outside of my videos and blog and all that good stuff, just to see and what I think is going to be an easier way to do this. I honestly feel like, just from my own personal experience and I guess my skill level, if you will, that doing the decals is one of the more controlled ways of doing this. So you can do this probably with water marbling, and I've seen it done before on some other videos, but I personally find that the decal method works the best for me. Now, I have had some questions in DMs and emails asking what type of mat would be best for this type of method. Any type of silicone mat, and that includes nail mats. I've also seen some people use baking mats. The mat that you always see in my videos is a very, very old mat. I want to say this is one of the first mats that was released several years ago. So here I'm just being real messy with it. Just blobbing them on there, and then when you're finished making your colorful blobs, go in with the fluid art polish, be a little generous with it, and just kind of top off your blobs with the fluid art polish. So this way, when you do your mushing of your decals, it makes those cells. Now with this specific one, with Nacre, this gives you a very shimmery-like effect in your fluid art look, and it comes off a bit on the clear side. So in my opinion, I think it contributes a lot of shimmer and a lot of little glass flecks to it. And of course, it gives you that really nice fluid art cell-like appearance once your decals dry down. Now, I let these decals dry down for about an hour. Of course, depending on what other polishes you're using, that dry time might vary. So typically I will make my decals, I'll go clean or something, and then I come back and I'm able to peel them up. So when you are putting on your decals, have some type of base coat down, and it kind of helps with the decal to stick to your nail. After cleaning up and trimming what I need to, I top off with a glossy top coat, and there you have it. That's my personal style for the fluid art look. And next is Blush Lacquers. She brings us Positronic Brain. This is a buildable pea green jelly with golden undertones and holographic micro flakes. This is inspired by data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Price is 11 and there is no cap on it. So this is definitely a true jelly. I personally would recommend between 2 and 3 coats depending on your nail length and your personal preference, in that base color will definitely darken out as you go on your layers. So in my blogger information, this did mention that the pigment in this is very, very pigmented, so it might have a bit of an issue with staining. However, just from my experience, when I've worked with staining polishes, a lot of times they will stain right through my latex coat that you see on the videos. I didn't have any staining with this one, but of course that is with the caveat that I would definitely still recommend a really good base coat just to prevent that, just in the event that you personally have that. Overall, the formula is wonderful. It's very smooth, very easy to use, really just buttery on that application, especially with that paddle brush. So here on the forehand shot, I've topped off with a glossy top coat, and it's got that really nice juicy appearance that I personally prefer on jelly polishes. And by Danny Viana brings us Carbonation. This is a dark brown jelly with holographic flakes and white glitters, inspired by the Mentos in a Coke experiment. Price is $11.50, and there is a cap of 250 US and 20 UK. So the base color to this one, I have to agree, it's definitely a true soda, like Coke type of appearance. It's a really nice, deep, vampy type of brown. Per usual from this brand, we've got a really nice, smooth, buttery type of formula. Now, for opacity on this one, I'm personally going to suggest 3 thin coats on that, and that's because as you build it up, it really gets to be that nice soda pop-like color. So the glitters in this one, there's a nice mix. You've got the smaller white ones, and then every once in a while on your layers, you'll get those nice larger holographic glitters. So the polish itself is not super packed full of the big ones, which I actually think is really cool, because the mix of the less dense larger glitters and then the more dense smaller glitters, I think it really mimics that nice carbonation like effect. So really cool. Now overall, this one does dry down a little bit on the flat side for a jelly polish, so I'm going to recommend a really good glossy top coat to give you that nice juicy plump like effect in your final look. And I had no issues with texture or anything like that, especially from those larger glitters. And next we have by Vanessa Molina. This is Flaming Star, described as a deep red with metal micro flakes and scattered holographic pigment. This is inspired by a image of a red giant. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 300 US and 20 UK. And for anybody asking or curious, the little butterfly charm on the bottles does come on all bottles, so you can remove it if you want, but I didn't really have any issue with it being on the bottle as I was applying. Now the base color to this one is what I would consider definitely a deep red as you build it up. However, once you reach opacity, it's still what I would consider a more warm type of red. So it's kind of like a chili pepper, and it's got a lot of very warm undertones. Now this has a ton of depth. I really liked how the metallic flakes in this one will give you that almost velvety like appearance. And for opacity, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats. This is really going to depend on how you personally like to polish. I personally found that going in with a 3rd thin coat to finish it off really helped to plump it up and just really maximize all of those little micro flakes. Now Vanessa Molina also brings us a topper this month. This is Space Storm, described as a magnetic effect topper with scattered holographic pigment and iridescent flakes. This is inspired by magnetic storms occurring in space. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 300 US and 20 UK. So when I wore this one, I decided to wear it over a medium blue jelly base, and you'll see here in just a moment when I magnetize it, you'll get an excellent, somewhat movable type of magnetic line from whatever magnet you use. And then in the background, it leaves behind those really nice little multicolored iridescent flakes. So I'm using the DRK Nails Magnetic Magic Top Coat. So I think this looks great over any dark color, and I could see it looking kind of interesting over lighter colors, though I think that that silvery type of magnetic pull might be a little subtle. So I personally would think that more medium to darker undies for this one would be best. And Cameo Color Lacquers brings us Talos 1. This is a black jelly with scattered hollow sparkle, full of indigo to purple shifting shimmer, gold metallic micro flakes, and a smattering of silver hollow micro flakes. This is inspired by one of the maker's favorite video games, Prey from 2017. and the price on this one will be $11.50, and there's a cap of 95 US and 5 UK. So the formula on this one is definitely Crelly-like in my opinion. It applies just crazy dense on the nail and very, very smooth, especially given how much pigment and goodies are in this one. So as you build it up, you'll get that really nice black-like base, and then there's so much of that strong blue shimmer happening with it. There's also a nice scattered sparkle happening too. Now this one does dry down very much on the flat side, so I'm going to recommend a really good glossy top coat just to really maximize the shimmer properties on this one. And Crystal Knockout brings us Black Hole World. This is described as a shimmery pink base with purple glow and tons of iridescent flakies in aqua, pink, gold, and green. This is inspired by the theory that a mysterious planet X in our solar system could actually be a black hole. Price on this one is $11 and there is no cap. Now the formula on this is what I would consider a true jelly, and I feel like it's one of those more softer type of subtle shades. It's really delicate, so I think depending on how you build it up, if you have a free edge like myself, I think you're going to see your smile line. So if that bugs you, I would definitely recommend some type of color correcting base coat. Otherwise, I think this is a really super luminous because it's got a ton of shimmer in it. So you'll get a strong, almost goldish like glow with it. And of course, those iridescent flakes are all over the place to give you that nice glowy type of factor on their own too. Now this one also dries down on the flat side, so again, to maximize those flakes, I'm going to recommend a really good glossy top coat. And next we have Cupcake Polish. This is Sake Up Close, described as a red jelly packed with bronze and gold metallic flakies, orange to gold to green iridescent flakes, and a hint of bronze glitter. This is inspired by sake under a microscope. Price is $13 and there is no cap on it. So this has a, of course, jelly-like base. However, it applies very opaque on the nail. I really can't see a lot of people needing to go past 2 coats on it, in my opinion. It just builds up very quickly, and that's because it is packed full of those flakes. There's so much to see on this one. It's very complex. Now, I do feel like the video for this being a red type of base is behaving pretty color accurate, at least on my monitor. So when you build it up, it's going to take on a very cool tone to the base color itself and a really nice, almost vampy like red. However, those bronze and gold metallic flakes here are going to kind of make it look like it's warmed up a little bit. So it's a really nice contrast between that base color and tons and tons of glow from it. I mean, there is just so much going on here. And Cuticula brings us Chemicals React. This is a blue-green jelly jam-packed with shifting iridescent flakes and silver hollow micro flakes. This is inspired by an image of a chemical reaction. Price is $12 and there is no cap on it. So for a jelly polish, this once again has a really wonderful, very opaque type of formula. I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats depending on how you polish. Now I consider myself one of those that applies kind of medium-like. I don't think I load the brush up too much for my wide type of nails, but of course I also don't think that I go in too light for the most part. So I found that at 2 coats, it plumped out really nicely. It really was packed full of those iridescent flakes, and I thought it looked just fine. It darkened out real nice. Now this one does dry down really flat, so I'm going to recommend a good glossy top coat. In this video, you are seeing it topped off with Limitless from her duo, which I'll get to in just a moment. That base color I feel like is coming off pretty color accurate to what I'm seeing in person. On the video here, this is a lovely bluish, greenish, almost tealish like of shade. And you can see in that final look, there's so much flakes. Now, Cuticula also brings us her game-changing duo. This includes the Sync base coat and her Limitless quick dry top coat, and these are both scented in Pop Rocks, which I really liked how this one smelled. I was testing out the Sync base coat for a couple days after I worked on these, and I really enjoyed it. It's got a pop of that nice effervescent type of smell to it, but it's also got a nice candy scent to it too. So definitely true to the inspiration. This will be $16 for the duo, and there is no cap on it. So I'm showing you guys first how I'm using the Sync base coat. This is how I was kind of messing around with it. I did have to go to lab the week that I worked on these, so I wanted to see how much protection it can offer me if I wore Sync by itself. So I personally like to wear these strengthening base coats alone at 2 coats, And you can see here, before I put that first coat on, my nails in general are pretty porous, so I always have to be wearing something. Now going in with that second coat for it, I felt that it really gave me that nice strengthening type feel from it, and it definitely did that. So I had no little nicks or anything after my day in lab. Now here, using it with some nail art, I use 1 coat of Sync, and I'm using 1 coat of Limitless over my nail art. And of course, if you use this top coat with nail art, you'll want to do the bead method. So get a healthy type of bead on your brush and then just gently layer it over your nails, and you'll have no smearing over nail art. So here you can see really nice glossy action happening, and using both together, from my experience, I definitely agree that it definitely extended the wear of my nails. So really, really nice duo. And Emily Damali brings us Element of Strange. This is a pink to orange to gold to green multichrome. This is inspired by bismuth crystals. Price is $12, and there's a cap of 500 US and 50 UK. This is incredibly shifty in person. There is so much shift happening with it. Easily between shaded lighting or indoor lighting, you'll see a lot of a dominant pink to green shift on your nails. It's got a bit of a dusky like base to it, but as you'll see here in just a moment, the multi-chrome pigment just takes over everything. Now for opacity on this one, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats, though for my swatches and for me wearing it, I took it up to 2 normal coats, and I thought it was just fine, and it plumped out real nice. Now, since this is absolutely packed full of that multi-chrome pigment, I'm going to suggest going in loosely with your brush strokes. It does self-level very nicely, so just trust that light brush strokes will even itself out, and you'll reduce any type of potential streaking. I want to note that the bottle that I'm swatching with here has a pigment that unfortunately is a little bit different from the bottle that you're going to receive. The shift that you'll see on the bottles that you order will have just a little bit more of a goldish tint to that green shift. I actually think that the new pigment looks quite a bit more shifty in my opinion, so regardless, it's a really lovely, strong multi-chrome. And Esmaltes de Kelly brings us DeLorean. This is a nude Crelly with black galaxy glitter and iridescent gold to green flakes. This is inspired by the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 300 bottles on it. This is a really interesting full coverage glitter in my opinion, and I'm a big time fan of this brand and her glitters, and this one just kind of blew me away, just how it builds up, and you'll see that on the second coat here. So this is definitely what I would consider a nude type of Crelly. As you build it up, it's going to look like you need another layer to it. However, that's that nude base. Really interesting. There is so much glow from the flakes and glitters here. It's just a ton to see. Very, very pretty. And you'll get that strong iridescent gold and green shift on your nails from those flakes. Now this is a little bit thirsty for top coat, so I'm going to suggest some type of glitter smoother or a really good glossy top coat to smooth everything out, and you're going to be super glowy. And Fair Maiden Polish brings us its Glow Time. This is described as a dark teal jelly base with a fierce yellow to green shift, aka a glow, that starkly contrasts the dark teal base. This is inspired by synchronous fireflies. Price is $11, and there is no cap on it. So this definitely has that really lovely, strong glow in it. In indoor lighting, and especially in shaded lighting, you'll see a very strong yellowish type of gold glow with it. It's just really, really strong in person. Now that base color, I do agree, is a dark teal. So this has a jelly type of behavior in it, in that depending on if you wear it between 2 and 3 coats, it'll definitely darken out. However, that shimmer is still just crazy strong regardless of how you wear it. So you get a ton of flakes with it too, and those, as you can see on the video, will give you that nice contrast between that orangey and green type of shift. But overall, that shimmer is wonderful, and it really plays against that base color very well. And we have new to the channel, Femme Fatale. She brings us Curtains of Fire. This is described as a teal green jelly base with soft red magnetic pigment and golden holographic micro glitters. This is inspired by volcanic activity on Jupiter's moon Io. Price is $14, and there is no cap on it. So this has a very rich, dense-like application for a jelly. It builds up really fast on the nail, And when you wear it unmagnetized, you'll see it tealish, really flirting with being a forest green background for that base, and a strong copper shimmer from the magnetic pigment. Those little golden hollow glitters are really twinkling against that background. This dries down very, very flat, so you're going to want to use a really good glossy top coat to get those sparkles to really shine out like crazy. And for opacity, I'm going to suggest 2 coats on it, as like I said, it builds up very quickly, really smooth, easy to use formula. I am using the DRK Nails Magnetic Magic Top Coat once again, and I feel like the video is giving you guys a good representation of what that magnetic pull is going to look like. I feel like on my swatches it came out just a little bit on the shy side, so please note in person that that copper like look is pretty prominent. Again, Glisten and Glow brings us Zealandia. This is a deep oceanic blue jelly filled with color shifting iridescent flakes that shift between green, orange, pink, and purple with a dash of hollow micro flakes. This is inspired by the drowned continent, often classified as Earth's 8th continent. Price is $12.50 and there is a cap of 315 US and 15 UK. You guys know I'm a huge blue fan, and this specific shade of blue is really, really flattering. It's very vibrant and a little bit at the same time on the darker side. Really, really pretty. I do feel like the video is behaving pretty color accurate to what I'm seeing in person. Just a really popping blue. Now this is loaded with iridescent flakes. I personally took this one up to 2 coats and I thought it really popped very well in terms of opacity and the flakes. However, depending on your application style, if you do use 3 coats, you'll want to go in thin with them as this builds up very quickly. I feel like this is one that my swatches did not do this one justice at all. In person, it's just so packed full of those flakes, and they really look fantastic against that base color. Now, Glisten and Glow also brings us a cuticle remover and cuticle oil pen duo. This month's duo is in the scent Kumquat, which is very fruity. It's very pleasant. Again, the scents on this one, it's not overwhelming, but it's still noticeable. And both of these are scented with that Kumquat scent. So these come in the nice pen applicators that I'm showing you guys here. You just twist that bottom area and you'll get really nice product on that brush. So I'm showing you guys real quick, just being a little extra. The brushes themselves are really soft, and you twist it to get the product out. Now, I have reviewed Glisten and Glow's cuticle remover quite a bit on this channel, so those of you who are watching for the first time, Glisten and Glow's, in my experience, this is more of a gentle type of cuticle remover. Now, my cuticles on my hands have been beaten up. They have definitely seen some things, so I say that with the caveat that even though this is a very gentle remover for your nails, if you've got real harsh skin like myself, it still does the job. So if you are a little bit weary and that you have more sensitive skin, I would say don't be shy, as I think in any nail routine you should use some type of cuticle remover. Of course, that's my opinion, but if you want those blogger style nails, quote unquote, definitely recommend using some type of remover. And this is of course very gentle and really pleasantly scented. So the way you use this is I like to go in and just lather it on my skin. It's not going to do anything to your nails themselves if you end up getting it on your nails, so there's no reason to be careful with it. You can use an orange stick from one of those wooden type of sticks, or you can be extra like me and use a glass cuticle stick. And I personally like that, as like I said, my skin's pretty rough, and I think it pushes back very nicely. So just gently push back and you're going to see a little bit of that excess skin start to come off. Don't be alarmed, it's all perfectly safe. And I like to go in and just push back, but also give a little gentle rubbing motion against my cuticles just to remove any excess. And this also works really well for hangnails too. At that point, you're going to want to wash your hands really well with soap and water. I like to dry off my hands afterwards and just kind of use the towel to just gently push it back just one final time. And then I go in, I file, I do any type of maintenance like that I need to do. And then I finish off with cuticle oil. And I really like the brush applicator in that when you are applying cuticle oil, so like in this case, if you have even the slightest bit of a free edge, you want to get under there and really saturate it. And Lemming Lacquer brings us Cyberpunk. This is described as a purple to pink to gold to green multichrome in a dusty blue base with hollow microflakes and sparks. This is inspired by the sub-genre of science fiction, particularly the bright and electric colors against a muted dystopian landscape. Price on this one is $13 and there's a cap of 250 bottles. So I feel like my swatches didn't really do this one justice either. There's a ton of shimmer happening with it. I do feel like the video is giving you guys a better idea of what I'm seeing in person. That base color is definitely a dusty type of blue appearance. However, I feel like that multi-chrome shimmer definitely kind of almost makes it look like a blurple, if you will. So in very bright lights, you'll see a very strong purplish pinkish type glow, and at angles you'll easily see a gold to green shift happening with it. The formula on this one is a bit on the jelly side, however it applies very smooth on the nail and it just really self levels nicely. So really nice, very dense type of jelly type of application with it, but super smooth on the brush strokes. And MLF Lacquer brings us Star Factory. This is described as a blurple jelly with a blue to turquoise to purple color shifting shimmer and holographic micro flakies. This is inspired by nebulas and the stars that are made inside of them. Price is $11 and there's a cap of 190 US and 10 UK. So the formula on this is definitely jelly-like, but I almost want to say that it feels very crelly-like to me on the brush strokes. It is pretty dense on application and it builds up very quickly to opacity. For the most part, I'm going to suggest 2 coats and I think most will be just fine on this. This is what I would consider a very glowy type of blue. There's a lot of luminescence happening from that shimmer. Now I want to note that I personally found that the dominant color shift that I saw in person was a blue to purple type shift at very extreme angles. So in my opinion, I think what you're mostly going to see is what you see on the video here, a really lovely medium but very vibrant type of blue with a ton of depth from the shimmer. So of course there's also those little holographic microflakes in it too, so you get a very scattered type of subtle sparkle. And Night Owl Lacquer brings us Surreal Lights. This is a black based multi-chrome that shifts between green to teal to blue to purple to magenta with hollow dust and crystal chameleon flakes that shift yellow to pink to green. This is inspired by the science behind polar lights. Price is $13 and there is no cap on it. So I do agree with the description that it's definitely one of those vampy type of multi-chromes. I feel like my swatches and my macros didn't really capture the shift as well as what I'm seeing in person. So in very bright lights, you're going to see that dominant green that you see on the video here, and easily over at angles you'll see an easy shift over to a purple, and then of course I see that really nice magenta popping at very extreme angles. So lots of shift from the multi-chrome pigment itself, and this is also full of those lovely iridescent flakes I'm coming to really enjoy from Night Owl's polishes. So you'll get a shift from the base, but you're also going to get a shift from those flakes too. And as you can see on the video, they are of the medium and larger varieties, so they are very prominent and very obvious across your nails. And polish brings us Synapse to Synapse. This is a neon teal with bright pink to soft copper glow. This is inspired by the mysteries of the brain and neuroscience. Price is $13 and there is no cap on it. So this has a very strong shimmer-like effect to it. In bright lights and in indoor lighting, you'll see what you see on the video with that nice pinky type of glow to it. And at angles, you'll see a nice copper shift come out to play. So this is a very crelly-like formula. It's very smooth on those brush strokes, stays exactly where you put it, and it builds up very quickly to opacity. So depending on how you polish, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats, and you'll get that really strong shimmer-like effect. It self-levels very nicely, really satisfying type of formula to it. And of course, depending on if you wear it between 2 and 3 coats, that base color will definitely get more in your face. So what I would consider a definite true type of teal. This one does have just a little bit of my smile line showing as I build it up here. If you are seeing it, which is what I'm seeing on my monitor here, please note that in person it's not that prominent. I think it's just my bright lights playing against it. And Penelope Luch brings us Crazy Ricky. This is described as a baby blue with iridescent flakes and a bit of multicolored flakes. This is inspired by Rick from Rick and Morty. Price is $13 and there is no cap on it. So this has just packed full of iridescent flakes. I do agree with the official description that it's a baby blue in that base color. It's got a bit of a powdery like blue undertone to it. And as you go in with your layers, you'll definitely see a ton of those multicolored flakes. They pop very, very well. So this feels like a Crelly on application to me. However, it builds up very quickly to opacity and it just plumps out really nice. So it's got just a touch of a squish factor as you are applying it on your nails. And for the most part, again, I'm going to recommend 2 to 3 coats, of course, depending on how you polish and all that good stuff. But overall, really nice formula to this too. And Poetry Cowgirl Polish brings us a good day for a rocket launch. This is a sky blue Crelly with red, white, and blue glitters and gold shimmer. This is inspired by a selfie from the maker taken at the Kennedy Space Center at the SpaceX launch. Price is $11 and there is no cap on it. So once again, I do agree with the official description. We've got a lovely Crelly here. There's quite a bit of squish factor on your brush strokes with it, but it builds up very quickly to opacity and has a really smooth like feel from your brush strokes, and you'll get a ton of glitter payoff on your application. So per usual, my bottles get a really good shake before I apply, and I had no problems with needing to fish or placement or anything like that. So on that second coat, I'm going in and I'm applying it like how I like to apply really dense like toppers. I like to make that nice little bead at the end of my nail and then just gently spread it out across the rest of my free edge. And I feel like, given how packed full this one is with glitters, I thought that it really benefited from that type of application style if you've got really wide nails like myself. And Pretty Beautiful Unlimited brings us Science is the Best. This is a gunmetal gray holographic base loaded with holographic micro flakies and a custom mix of 5 crystal chameleon flakes. This is inspired by the Big Bang Theory. Price is $12 and there's a cap of 150 US and 10 UK. So the formula on this one has quite a bit of a squish factor to it. It builds up very quickly to opacity and there is a ton of bling happening with it. So the flakes themselves pop very, very well against that grayed out base. Definitely, I would classify this as more of a deeper type of gray as you build it up. And for opacity, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats, depending on your application style and really going to depend on your nail length. So I personally took it up to 2 coats. I thought it looked really nice, and you'll see here in just a moment that it just covered everything really well. I really liked how those flakes pop against that base color. It's just really lovely. It's almost like a rainbow-like effect. So when you get out in the sun, you'll see quite a bit of sparkle from this one. There's quite a bit of holographic pigment happening with it. Now, Pretty Beautiful Unlimited also brings us a wax sampler this month. This is roughly 7 ounces of melting wax. There is 15 scents in it, including Aloha Apple Harvest, Best Friends, Blueberry Cheesecake, Cabernet Sauvignon, Chai Latte. There's a ton of scents in this, and you'll get the scent description card in with your cute little bag. So there is the scent card right here. This one smells amazing. As soon as I got it out of my mailbox, I was like, yes. Now each bag also comes with some type of charm, and this month's charm is that cute little microscope. Now my favorites from this set are the cheesecake blends. They are wonderful. They smell so good. I personally really like cheesecake scents. Of course, they're not always done that well, but these are awesome. Super cheesecake, awesome bakery goodness, and a little bit of fruity goodness happening with it too. And last but not least, we have Supernatural Lacquer. She brings us the Incredible Pants. This is a royal purple Crelly with a green to blue to violet to red mix of multichrome and color shifting shimmer. This is inspired by the fact that the real weird science is not how gamma radiation turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk, but how those pants managed to survive the transformation. Price on this one is $12 and there is no cap on it. So this is very, very strong on that shimmer effect. I was very pleased watching the playback for this video that it's behaving color accurate. I was like, yay. So the base color, as you can see here, is a really lovely flattering type of royal purple, really popping very well. It's got quite a bit of a cool tone like feel as you build it up. And of course that shimmer is very, very strong in person. So you'll get what you see on the video here. It's that greenish bluish like effect, but at angles you'll easily see that lovely violetish type of red shift to it. It's very pretty, and you'll see that at extreme angles, but for the most part, in bright lights and very strong indoor lighting, you'll see it like how you see on the video. So really almost like an aqua type of shimmer happening with it. Now the formula on this one has quite a bit of a squish factor, but it does have that really nice juicy like application of a jelly, but still builds up very quickly like a crelly. So easy, smooth type of brush strokes with it. Now Polish Pickup opens up for wish listing in the next few days, and the shop will go live for shopping August 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and will go until August 10th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll link you guys below to Polish Pickup's shop. Depending on when this video finishes compiling and I get it posted, wish listing may be up. However, if it's not, please note that the link that I'm going to put in the description box will be live when wish listing goes up, which is typically on Sundays or Mondays before the shop goes live. And I'll also link you guys below to Polish Pickup's Facebook group if you want to get in there and see additional swatches and all the other goodies that are happening for this month. This month is fantastic. I was a little worried that we were going to see a ton of dark colors, but that's not really what I'm seeing. I see a lot of variety in finishes and shades, and I think that a lot of these colors are really awesome to lead us into the fall months. There's just so much awesome goodness here. I personally am going to have to narrow down what I'm seeing from other bloggers and stuff in the Facebook group. There's a ton of good stuff. So of course you guys always like to talk to me on these Polish Pickup videos, which I adore your comments so much. You guys are just the most pleasant, nicest people ever, and there's always so much positivity. So per usual, let me know in the comment section what you guys are going to get, what you're hoping for, all that good stuff. I love seeing what you guys are wanting to get and if we're similar in that manner. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.